So I thought that I was done when I made my little speech about homosexuality. I thought I was done. I thought I was going to avoid making videos that rebut against people, unless somebody rebutted against me, and then I'd make a counter rebuttal, of course. But here I am again. Subscribe to someone, look at their favorites, see a video, watch it, and a guy brings up new points. And it shocks me the ignorance and just how flawed these points were. The guy was YNG Woodsta, Sta being S-T-A. So I'm going to call him Woodsta. Woodsta, if you're watching this right now, which I hope you are. The first point you brought up was about gay marriage. And you see gay marriage as being not for equal rights, but for additional rights, extra rights, if you will. The general basis of your argument was that you cannot marry someone of the same sex, and I cannot marry someone of the same sex if I were to live in the States. Fortunately, I live in Canada. So hypothetically, I can't marry the same sex, but I can marry the opposite sex just the same as you can marry the opposite sex. Therefore, it's not a matter of equality, but for additional rights. First off, it's still a matter of equality. You marry someone not because they're of the opposite sex, you marry someone because you love them. And you're telling a section of the population that they can't marry because they aren't doing it the right way, aren't doing it the way the law was written as it is. Laws change. Now, if you watch my other same-sex marriage video, I do bring up interracial marriage in a different context. This time, I'm going to show you just how ignorant your analogy is. Let's say it's the 1950s. Let's say, for hypothetical purposes, I'm straight. I, by law, cannot marry someone of a different race. Now, I fall in love with, let's say, a black woman. I want to marry her. By law, I'm not allowed to marry her because she's of a different race than me. Now, I want the right to marry her, but you say, no. You say, I am not going to give you that right. Why? Because you don't have that right. You're not going to give me that right because you don't have the right to marry someone of a different race. So you're going to sit there and say, I'm not going to give you extra rights just because you want to marry someone of a different race. I can't marry someone of a different race, so why should you be able to? That's the exact mentality of your argument. It makes no logical sense, it's flawed, and it's completely ludicrous considering the parallel to interracial marriage that you just teed up for me. Guess what? The president of your country, Barack Obama, was a son in an interracial marriage. He is the child of an interracial marriage, and you're going to deny same-sex marriage with an analogy that can be used the exact same way to deny interracial marriage. Now, you also say that you can't add rights. We don't add rights to the Constitution. Of course we do. We always have. What's the civil rights movement? What was Martin Luther King's dream? His dream was to add rights for black people. And that's what he did. Racism, of course, isn't eliminated, but under the Constitution, it is. You then go into something about nature being the biggest bigot. It's really demeaning what you're saying. It wasn't really a point. It was just like, no matter how hard gay people try, they can't reproduce. I've covered this in various ways in some of my videos. Watch my homosexuality speech. That's linked to my 4 other videos if you're going to make a rebuttal against me. But on the basis of your arguments, I don't recommend it. Your second point was about adoption. And you said, isn't a man and a woman the ideal father figures, mother figures, parental figures for a child? And my answer to you is simple. Yes, of course, a perfect father and a perfect mother is the best combination to raise a child. Of course it is. That's just the way it is. It's the perfect combination. But to deny two people, both of whom may be men, both of whom may be women, the right to raise a child in their house as a family is to say that every couple between a man and a woman is better, which is wrong. And you know it's wrong, because not every couple is perfect. There could be a drunk father, there could be an abusive father, there could be an incompetent mother, there could be a drunk mother. One of them could skip town every now and then, one of them could sleep around. You know that not every couple between a man and a woman is perfect. And to deny two men or two women who would make fabulous parents and raise a child extraordinarily well, to deny them the right to raise a child based on the ignorant perception that any couple between a man and a woman would be better is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, it is irrational, and it is completely not intellectual whatsoever. Now, you then go and you start talking about how gay is sort of a trait that gets picked up, and it needs to just, you gotta hammer out the gay, is basically what you're saying. Once a child starts going gay, you gotta hammer out the gay. Do I strike you as someone that played with Barbies, or skips around, or wears flamboyant clothing, as you can see me wearing now? I am quite the flaming queer, as you can see. I grew up playing G.I. Joes with my brother. I grew up watching hockey every day. Played road hockey with my guy friends. The only friend I had that was a girl was my next door neighbor. And you know what we played? Road hockey and gun games. To be honest, under your standards, she had a much higher risk of becoming lesbian than I ever did becoming gay. So, what I'm trying to say is, your perception of how being gay is a trait that can be picked up and needs to be bashed down and weeded out is completely and utterly ignorant. You obviously do not know gay people in person. If you do, you know very few. Let's be honest about that. Let's get that out in the open. Now, in a prior video, this is something I need to address. In a prior video, I said that I believe being gay is a disorder. I used the blatantly wrong word. That was an accident. It was just pointed out to me by my parents, and I actually had a heated debate with them tonight. Basically, my belief is not that it's a disorder. Wrong word. It's more of something like an allergy, like a peanut allergy. A peanut allergy is an abnormalcy. A peanut allergy is completely natural. It's perfectly fine to have a peanut allergy. It's uncurable. Sure, you can sustain it, but the peanut allergy will always be there. It will always be a part of you, no matter how badly you beat it down. And that's, to me, that's the biggest parallel between being gay. One other thing you brought up, and it just kind of sums up all the ignorance in your own points. You drew the comparison from homosexuality to pedophilia. Now, at first I was going to say I've already addressed this, but I can't leave this alone. People keep on bringing up pedophilia and drawing a comparison from it to homosexuality. I always am fascinated by people that do this. First off, the people that do always describe pedophilia as men going after little boys. Because there's no women pedophiles, of course. It's always men going after little boys. You never hear these people that draw the comparison from homosexuality and pedophilia say men going after little girls. Because as we all know, there's no straight pedophiles. The proportions of gay to straight is the exact same as the proportions of gay pedophiles to straight pedophiles. And these people are completely ignorant to that. Second, pedophilia is an adult who is sexually attracted to a child, a helpless, innocent child. Homosexuality is between two consenting adults who love each other. Pedophilia is not between two adults. It's between a child and an adult. That in itself is wrong. Second, there's never any fucking consent. So when people draw a line, a comparison, it's just flat out ignorant and stupid. There are parallels between the civil rights movement of the 60s and the 50s and between the women's civil rights movement. There are parallels between the women's civil rights movement and the gay civil rights movement. Civil rights are civil rights. And you either believe in equality or you don't.